All right, let's talk about communication tips and tricks. For phones, if you're in an office environment, um, maybe you were dialing just extensions. Well, just keep in mind that most likely you're going to have to dial the full number. So just make sure you know what that is. This office system may have a certain way that you need to forward the calls. So you might have to dial a 9 or something else. So if you want to forward your calls to your mobile device, you can do that. Or if you decide just to have your phone system, will take voicemails, just make sure you know how to get into that system so you can check the voicemails there. For phones, obviously, if you're using a mobile device, this may be a good time to get connected to one another if you need to text for just something quick. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Obviously, we're using the technology we have. So likely you may be able to send instant messages to each other. So there might be different systems out there, either that your work uses, your school uses, or even just personally, there's obviously other ways to connect as well. For email, obviously, however you're set up, if it's a web email, a lot of times your work email may have that option still, even if you're normally used to going into Outlook. They may have a web version of that you can go to, so you can find out what that is. They may also have, when sending emails, there may be a way to send that encrypted, so that way it's not easily read by another party, especially if it's sensitive information. They may have a way to send that out as well. All right, so, and a lot of companies, they use Outlook as Microsoft Outlook. That's kind of like a standard that the vast majority of companies use these days. So one of the great things with Outlook, if you have that application, even if you have the web version of that, there are some useful features. Other email systems may be similar to that, but you have an address book you can look at if that's set up in your environment. What I definitely like is if I'm not sure the exact email address, if we do have an address book, you just type the person's first name, maybe the first initial of their last name, and then just click the check names. And that's an easy way that you can be able to search for that person's email address. So that's a useful feature there. And obviously you can attach files, you can put signatures with your name and phone number and all that. So definitely a good time to get used to getting familiar with the email system that you're using. And usually that system, let's say it's Outlook, you have a calendar system there as well. So you want to make sure you're able to schedule meetings. And obviously in these times, we prefer face-to-face, but in this case, we can set up virtual meetings. So if your company uses Zoom as one technology, Microsoft has Microsoft Teams. So there's a lot of different ways to create a virtual meeting if they have a webcam. A lot of laptops nowadays have a webcam that's built in. Some obviously don't want to have the webcam on all the time. They may have actually a physical button that you can turn the webcam off. So just your preference on whether you want to have that face-to-face interaction there. Another thing that's nice with that is getting people used to being able to connect to a Zoom, saying hi to each other. Obviously this is the new normal for a while. Another useful thing with that is being able to share your screen. So if you need to just, you're trying to explain it to someone, it's not making sense to them. A lot of times just, hey, let's create just a quick video chat, Zoom, Teams, whatever you're using, and they can click the share screen button. You can see what they're doing. A lot of times you can take control of that as well, and that just helps you all out, is just to see what each other's seeing. What else with communication, social networking? If you're connecting to an office environment, obviously you may be blocked from certain sites, so just keep in mind whatever policies they have, guidelines, You want to keep that in mind. So definitely be careful with that. Know what the rules are. So all right, so